Hey everybody, welcome to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to talk about the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse trailer. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're talking about the trailer reaction to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, if you didn't know, this is the Miles Morales animated Spider-Man movie we've been promised from Phil Lord and Chris Miller from the Lego movie. They produced the Lego Batman movie. They were also most recently fired from the Star Wars Solo movie, and Ron Howard stepped in and took over that from them. But they've also produced great movies like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 21 Jump Street with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, 22 Jump Street, which was almost as good. So they are proven guys. They can do action. If you saw the 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street, the action was pretty good in there. So they know what they're doing. So I'm excited for the Spider-Man movie. However, the trailer dropped this past weekend, and I gotta say, initial reaction, it was only a minute long. I was kind of more meh than excited. The reason why, and I'm going to nitpick the things that they did, Miles Morales' costume they changed a little bit. Not enough to really make a big difference, I think, but I thought the original costume was so good and so perfect that it didn't need to be updated. It was just, they could just throw it on there. It was new, it was modern, and instead they kind of just threw some of it away, and they also changed the spider symbol drastically, which I'm not a fan of. So Miles Morales' costume originally is kind of the inverse of Peter Parker's costume. It's black with red webbing and like pinstripes and stuff like that, as opposed to a red costume with black pinstripes and stuff like that. Kind of the inverse, since Miles Morales is a mixed race black and Latino teenager, and Peter Parker was a white teenager. So they kind of inverse the costumes. Now, if you're not familiar with Miles Morales, he was created by Brian Michael Bendis, the writer of Ultimate Spider-Man at the time, and then which moved into, I think, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, and then Miles Morales Spider-Man, and now his book is just called Spider-Man. And Sarah Pichelli, she was the artist that originally designed Miles and the costume and stuff like that. So I've been reading his book since it started, and it's been a great book. So I guess I was a little bit butthurt, I guess you could say, when I saw that they altered the costume, even though it was almost as little as they did. So his original costume's got this V thing that goes down, similar to Spider-Man's regular costume, but it meets kind of in his sternum area, with clearly defined like a red V and red shoulders. Now, in the movie costume, it looks like they did away with the V, and he's just got these red shoulder things that just look like, I don't know if they're armor or whatever it is. And also the red webbing is not as defined. I think in the movie it also looks white. The eyes are pretty much the same, and then they put this big graffiti spider on his chest, which is the logo for the movie. I'm not a fan of the graffiti spider. To me, it just looks lazy. I'm sorry. I'm not into that type of culture or whatever you want to call it, but I'm not a fan of the graffiti spider. I like the sharp, distinct spider, even though I will give it up that this one is far more visible from far away because it is much larger and got all these rounded corners. Not even corners, you can't call it, just rounded edges. But from far away, can you tell it's a spider? I don't know, but jury's still out. So that's my nitpick on the costume. Everything else looks great. The design of Miles looks great. Pretty much straight lift from Sarah Pichelli's artwork and stuff like that. What I did notice, though, is they're using a more like pseudo-realistic style of animation, as opposed to like The Incredibles, where you can tell it's pure CGI and stuff like that, or any Pixar movie. This one almost bordered on photorealistic, maybe some cel-shaded effects in there. You couldn't tell if this was like something that they filmed with a camera and then altered to look animated or something like that, or if it was an animated film. So that approach is kind of neat. It almost makes it feel more adult than like the kiddie movies like Pixar and things like that. Also, it's not a very bright, colorful trailer, at least. Lot of shadows, lots of darkness, but it makes these bright color pops work really well. The other thing I did notice in the trailer, there's a couple shots in here where Miles is like moving his hands back or moving a little bit. And animation typically is 24 frames per second, which is what this recording is, 24 frames per second. So the animation here looked a little more like jilty. So if I can, his hand should be like one smooth movement up, right? At least as smooth as 24 frames will allow you to do. In the trailer, it looked a little bit like he was going like this. You know, as almost as if there is a slowdown effect, or the animation on this is not 24 frames per second, even though other things look great. But it's only in those slower moments that it's really, really easy to notice. So that was my one major complaint. I hope that changes when the movie comes out and it doesn't look like real jilty or jaggedy. But, you know, the costume, it is what it is. You can't change it. I almost was waiting for them to, like, release a picture from this movie instead of the trailer. But all in all, it looks pretty cool. It looks like we're going to get Peter Parker Spider-Man alive as an adult, as well as Miles Morales Spider-Man as a teenager. And we also saw a scene of a spider crawling down a wall, so indicating that there may be more in this film we don't know. I'm a little disappointed that it's not just a pure Miles Morales Spider-Man movie, and instead it's called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So who's Spider-Man? There's more than one. So it seems like it's focusing on Miles, but if this is a success, it's unclear whether future films will follow Miles' story or other Spider-Man stories or other Spider universes where there's a Spider-Gwen that's really popular right now, and other ones you can make up. Spider-Man Noir was really popular. He was in a video game. Spider-Man 2099. Is this the route that we get those movies from Sony? So all in all, we will find out later on, and we will watch the next trailer and analyze that when it comes out. So I want to thank you guys for watching BK's Bullets. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me whether you liked this video. Tell me if you didn't. What did you like about the trailer? What didn't you like? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I will see you guys in the funny pages.